Hi guys, this is Stormouse03. Welcome back to my Evil Within 2 Classic Mode walkthrough. This is part 7, and I'm going to be taking you through the rest of chapter 14 and 15. And so we're going to be making our way to our 7th and final save of this mode. We are rapidly approaching the end here, and this section right here is kind of tricky. I'm going to pretty much run through it, and that's why I made the save just there, because I did not want to do the firewalk section again, and this can be a little bit finicky to get correct, and it can be a little bit random because enemies, like I said, do somewhat different things. So you want to run this path around all these enemies, and you want to just keep feathering your sprint. You want to make sure to hit that right there. It's reminiscent of stuff that you had to do for the Lara boss fight. And then while you're opening this door, you just want to, or turning this crank, you just want to rotate your camera around and be looking behind you, because sometimes there will be a harbinger that will follow you there. It's going to be a statue with a key right there. But I'm not going to waste any time, or not going to waste time picking it up, because I want to go ahead and get that door down, and then you can pick it up right after you get the door down. This little dude's going to spawn in. Oh, and someone left a note in the comments. I think it was Megabug, although it might have been somebody else, and if it was, I will correct my mistake here shortly. I'll look that up. But someone left in the comments that these things are called spawns. Because of course they are. Of course they can't be called something normal, you know, like something that you'd think that they would be called. Like, you know, Cerberuses, or, you know, something like that. Something that's dog related. I don't know. Spawn just seems weird to me. But anyway. You just want to keep putting smoke down. And you can kill those guys with shotgun shells if you want to. But smoke will keep them off of you. And you just want to keep putting it down. And that effectively takes care of that section. As soon as you can run through the door, you run through. And this is the mirror right before the triple boss fight. So we're going to have, I mean, it's really only a double boss fight, but whatever. Technically, it's a triple boss fight. And so you want to stock up on ammunition and stuff, as always, before these things. Because you're gonna need to have some ammo for the keeper fight. Really, the keeper fight is the only one that you are going to really expend ammo for. The Lara fight, if you don't have the flamethrower, and I don't have the flamethrower, you'll see I did not collect the 2 pieces to be able to fix that. So if you don't have that, then you're just going to need some shock bolts. Shock bolts are going to be your friend for the Lara fight. And everything else you're really going to use on the keepers. So as soon as you feel you are stocked up enough, make your way to the elevator and head on up. And so the first phase of this is gonna be against the chainsaw dude, chainsaw boss. And it's really just a glorified cutscene. You just have to hit a prompt in order to finish that off. So you don't really have to worry about that too much. And then the Keeper is going to be in 2 phases as well. So it's like a 3-phase boss fight, but then the Keeper has 2 phases within it. So the first one you have 1 Keeper, and then the second phase you have 2. And you see that I have an axe saved. That can do a bit of damage. I think I don't even use it. We'll see what happens. But this is, you just run toward the door here. And run toward the elevator. And then it takes you into cutscene territory here.
Enough of this shit.
And then it's going to have like an A button prompt. Not there. It's going to have it here in a second.
Not this time.
Which is cool. It was neat that we didn't really actually have to fight this guy. Because it's like the sadist was the least of your concerns.
You think this will stop me?
And it's cool because this is like Sebastian facing his fears and a little bit of a greatest hits from the first game. So there you go. That was your A prompt to cut, and then you have to mash A right there, and then you're done. And so then you have massive amounts of blood and guts coming out. It's amazing that Sebastian is not covered more. Honestly. And now we get taken to the Keeper area. And so this isn't super hard. The thing that you just want to do is try to make sure you don't get cornered. There is one section of this map right here that is a dead end, and you just don't want to get caught down it. So we're gonna run and kite this Keeper around these structures. And a good thing to do when you're in this first part of the fight and only have the 1 Keeper to deal with is to run around and try to pick up some of the ammunition and stuff. While you are fighting just the 1. Try to keep track of where he is, because sometimes he will run around and come at you from a different way. So just be careful of that. So we're moving to the right. To the left where I avoided going, that's the dead end. There is an explosive bolt down there. And so, you know, it's worth trying to maybe go down there once you have this guy killed, or if you can kite him around and get him stunned or something like that. So I'm going to go for it right now. We'll see if this was a good or bad choice. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. So you can avoid that by putting a smoke bolt down or a shock bolt down or something like that that'll keep him occupied while you're trying to get the stuff from down that corridor. But it was, I think it was worth the medical supplies that I had to use on that. So now I just want to be at full health here. You can try to get these dudes as they're spawning. But what I really tried to do is get them together. And I ended up getting smacked. But what I'm trying to do is get them kind of in the same spot. So there they are. Now they're corralled. And what you can do is keep them shocked. So shock bolt. And then switch to explosive bolts, and you'll do damage to both of them. You should switch off though. And I got a little bit too greedy there, trying to get 2 explosive bolts in one. What I should have done was do shock bolt, explosive bolt, shock bolt, explosive bolt. It worked out okay ultimately, but it could have gone a little bit better. So now I've put a lot of damage onto these 2 dudes. I'm using some freeze bolts now. And my mind is telling me that they have to be almost dead. So there's the one down. And I thought that this guy would die. But he did not. And he ended up charging me, which is really bad. But I'm sitting here going, come on, they have to be almost dead. They have to be almost dead. I want to save my shotgun for the next area. And I'm like, please, this guy, he has to be close to being gone. And he is. What happened there was the explosive bolts didn't do as much damage. He's gonna die right now. There we go. The explosive bolts didn't do as much damage to him as they did to the other guy, because the other guy was the one I was shooting it at, like shooting it on his body, and this one was, he got sort of pushed back behind him, and it just, the damage just wasn't enough. It wasn't as much as I had hoped that it was going to be. And so that's why he took a little bit longer than I thought he was going to die. But anyway, he's gone. We took him out. And now we are on to the Lara section. And anybody who's played the first game probably was really, really scared here. Because she was really mean on the first game. But she's not so bad here. So the first thing you want to do is turn both of these cranks. And so what I did here was put down a shock bolt while I was turning that one. And there are a few shock bolts around the area, so you can replenish your supply, which is cool. Here is the other crank. And so I noticed that it went off just then. So I know she's right there on me. But I risked it. I risked it for biscuit on that one. Because she does stay shocked for quite a long time, actually. And now, where she was just then, I almost got her. But not quite. So you want to get her to, you want to sort of bait her into this section here, into the middle. And then get her stunned in that middle section. So that you can turn on the fire. And doing that twice will kill her. And so when it beeps, you can do the same thing again. And I didn't even shock her. I just waited. And she went through the flames and she died. But you can use a shock bolt there to you know, to help if you need to keep her in the right spot. But that is the end of chapter 14. That's the end of those 3 fights. They're not too bad, but they are boss fights, and I don't know. I would recommend making a save before them, either at the spot where I did or at the safe room, like right before those fights, just because, you know, you don't want to have to do that darn firewalk section over again. I would much rather do those boss fights again than to do that firewalk section again. And the enemies here in chapter 15 are not anything to play around with. There are 2 sections that you need to get through with enemies, and that doesn't sound like a lot. I think there's 4 or 5 enemies in the first area, and then there's like 6 or 7 in the second area, and that does not sound like a lot of enemies, but man, these guys are unpleasant, at least in my opinion, because they seem to take a lot more damage than the regular Lost. And they do a lot of damage. I mean, everything does a lot of damage on this difficulty, but I don't know, these guys, they're fast. They seem to me to be faster than any of the other Lost types. And so you definitely want to make sure you have shotgun ammunition. Shock bolt ammunition is really good too. And actually the harpoon bolts are pretty good too. I'm leaving room for 2 harpoon bolts because I know that there are 2 in the next section that I can pick up. But the harpoon bolts, if you can get a headshot on them, they will one-shot these guys. There's some extra ammunition if you blow up that barrel. There's some crates in here. And this was why I didn't fill my shotgun up quite full, because I knew that there would be some shells there. The big box, it doesn't have anything in it on this difficulty, unfortunately. Now, I notice I still have an axe. And it was like I was keeping the axe for some reason for like safety. I'm like, whenever I really need it, I'm going to use it. And I don't think I ever used the thing. Sadly. So if you have it, you can use it on those keepers. You could use it on some of the enemies here. The only bad thing about it is it just doesn't one-shot anything the way that it did in the first game. So I don't know. If you head around to the left, as soon as these guys start walking around, I'm going to show you a pretty good pattern to stealth kill all of the enemies in this section. So as soon as this guy turns to the left and starts making his way over toward that other van, we're going to move around behind him. And you want to be careful because he is, doing his little side to side looking. But you should be able to get behind this guy and stealth kill him. As you do that, the one that was coming up with him will have made its way around the other van. And it's going to be coming back. And so it's going to run over to the right. And when it does, you can use that opportunity to move up and get into a different position so that you can take the rest of these guys out. And so this guy, we're going to kind of move around this piece of cover. You want to be aware there's a guy at the far end. And you want to be aware that there's a guy in that building to our left. And you don't want to get seen by either of those guys. So we're waiting. This guy's going to come around here. Now the other guy has gone back over to the back end of the map. And as soon as this guy turns around, is going to be a decent moment. A decent moment to get him. And now the guy has moved to the back, and we can move around this, what is it? Is a trash bin? And then when he turns around and moves, we're going to move around behind him and stab him in the back. And now the last one is going to be moving around inside. And he's going to have magical eyeballs. And so you should be able to get around behind this guy as he's moving around. He has a nice little pattern where he goes around the cover in there. And you should be able to get around behind him and stealth kill him, and all will be well. But I got a little bit too close to him as he was turning and looking to the side there, and he saw me. This is why you want to have your shotgun ready to go. Because if you can put them down, you can stomp them, and that's a one shot.
All right. I hope she hasn't gone far.
And so you notice we were able to get those 2 harpoon bolts there. Just going to run around and grab all of the items that are scattered around the area. A shock bolt here. Some more shotgun shells. And so if things do go wrong there, shotgun is definitely helpful, but hopefully you will not have more than 1 or 2 of them to contend with. Hopefully you can get a couple of those stealth kills in. Because if you have to contend with 3 or 4 of those dudes, it's unpleasant. Now, this next section, I believe from standing up here, I think you can shoot a couple of these dudes. So I think that the bodies that are down there, or the people that are down there that are kind of frozen, I think those are some of the ones that come to life in the next sequence. So I think you could probably get your harpoon out or your sniper rifle and shoot those guys from up here, and that would make this next section a little bit easier. Someone can confirm if they know for sure if you can do that, but I think you can. But Dormouse likes to do things the hard way, so here we go. If I can do something and make it harder for myself and, you know, make me look like an idiot, then that's clearly what I'm going to do. So, here we go. These guys are now living. And I'm going to try to get a couple of them in stealth here. So this guy's the only one who's really on this end of the map. So I'm going to move up and stab him. I believe somebody is going to see this, though. Maybe they didn't. Oh, no, they did. Oh, no, they did. Now tell me how that missed. Tell me. There are a couple of shots that I make in this section right here that I would love to know how they miss. Love to. So now, this is what you want, though. You want to try to divide these dudes up because, again, if you're fighting all of them at once, it's bad. But if you can get them split up from one another, you're going to have a much easier time taking them out. And so I'm contemplating now what exactly I want to do with these guys. And I decided that I wanted to try to take out somebody with this harpoon bolt. And so I'm opting for the one that is over to the right because he seems the closest. But of course he's moving his head around. And I didn't quite get him in the face. But here's what I thought. I was like, oh, he's right. I've shot him. And he's right next to that explosive barrel. So I can, kill him with that. And I thought for sure he was dead. No. Nope. He surely wasn't. Like I said, these guys take way too much damage, I think. It baffles me a little bit. I think it's like you have to destroy their head somehow. Like maybe they're only vulnerable in the head. I just don't know. Because otherwise, how does a harpoon blast that knocks you, or a harpoon bolt that knocks you over, and then an explosion from a barrel that is right beside you not kill you? And then I'm like, well, surely he's almost dead. So I'm just shooting him with a couple of pistol shots because I have pistol ammo to burn. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I'm like, all right, fine. I'll try to snipe him. But the weapon sway right here, plus the adrenaline that's running through my veins, because right now I'm like, oh my god, because I know that if I can just make it to the boss fight, I'll probably be okay. And so I'm sitting here and I'm nervous and I'm like, oh my god, please die, please die, please die. And he just will not die. He just will not die. Like, how many shots have I put into him right now? It's so stupid. And so then he comes and he gets right there. That he took to the face. And then this. How did that miss? How did that miss? How did it miss? I don't know. But I got hurt. And I'm like, game, you suck. So now we have these two dudes. I am going to attempt to get them off of me. And now shock bolts are the best thing for just kind of immediately stunning people. And I thought that they'd fall over. No. No, they don't fall over when you shock them like normal enemies, so be aware of that. But I was able to take them out anyway. Shotgun, you are a champion. Except for the times where you just went straight through an enemy who was directly in front of you for no reason. Alright, so there's 2 more of them taken care of. So that was 4. And then I think there are 3 more at the back of the map here. And it's good because if you keep things contained to this section at the back, the other ones won't see you. And so you're able to take them out a couple at a time, which is really nice. And so now staying up here on this roof is a good spot to snipe the rest of these enemies here. And I'd really recommend you trying to use the harpoon bolt, because at this range it's not that hard to line up a shot, and they're not really moving around all that much, so it's easier to get your headshots here. But how one harpoon headshot kills enemies that take like 70,000 shots plus explosions. Like, man. Oh, I guess there were only 2 more. So there's only 6 dudes in that area. The one there on the left is not someone you have to kill. So that's good to know. Run around, pick up all the stuff in the area, and get ready for the next to last boss fight. So yeah, I mean, what? I shot him in the upper chest, neck area with the harpoon bolt. Then I blew up the barrel that was right next to him. Then I shot him, it had to have been with at least 5 or 6 pistol shots. And then I hit him with a shotgun blast. That still didn't kill him. Another shotgun blast went through his body. And then finally, a shock bolt and another shotgun blast finally killed him. Like, that is way, way, way too much to put into something. To, like, put into a regular, quote-unquote, enemy. It's just stupid. Anyway. The next fight is going to be pretty easy, I think. And it is a boss called the Effigy, apparently. And thank you, Megabug7, once again, for letting me know what this is called. Because I had no idea. It's the light pole boss to me. So, a couple of things that you can use. There's I won't say a lot, but there's several things in the environment that you can use to your advantage. So there's some oil that's around, some explosive barrels that you can either blow up on him or turn over and set on fire.
Oh, God.
And otherwise, you just want to kind of kite him around these areas and shoot him in the weak spot. So I knocked over that barrel there. He kind of set stuff on fire by himself, which is interesting. And you'll notice when I come around the corners of these houses, I do kind of look sometimes just to make sure that I know where he is. Because occasionally he will go around and walk the other way. But this is basically it, guys. You stay kind of far away from him. There is another strategy that you could do to kind of get close to him and try to shoot him with the shotgun. but I don't know. My thought is, why do that when I've got plenty of ranged weapons? The smoke can kind of stun him a little bit and let you get some shots on that weak point. And for whatever reason, this guy reminds me a little bit of the two giant brothers that you fight in the first game. I'm not exactly why. I think it's just the design of the one like holding the pole. For whatever reason, it just reminds me of them. And so right now I'm like, all right, which way are you coming from? Which way are you coming from? Because he seems to be lost or stuck. There we go. So you see how sometimes it'll change direction on you. And you have to be vigilant and aware. I like this house right here too. To kite this guy around. This area is bigger than this. There are a couple more houses. Has he gone the other way? I think he might have gone the other way. Yeah, he's lost. And so yeah, there are a few more houses around. But this is the one that I think is the easiest to lure him around. And so you just want to run carefully. Try not to run out of sprint too much. Use different things to get in the way as cover. Try to shoot him in the weak spot, but, you know, if all else fails, just try to shoot him. Because the weapon sway on this sniper rifle is not 100% easy to control, especially if you're trying to line your shots up quickly. But that's okay. Because he's not too bad. Again, you just keep your distance and you should be fine. Alright, so here's another house. And you can't run there. So note to anybody who's doing this, yeah, you can't run behind that one. It's the other house that you can run behind. And so not the one with the green roof, but the other one. And there's another barrel of flammable oil back here, which is nice. Sometimes he loses you and doesn't exactly want to follow you. And you have to poke your head out and get him aggroed again. Because I think he's on the other side of this house right now. And just kind of, where did they go? But there he is. We're going to get his attention. burn him in the oil. And then we're going to get behind our house of better cover. And we miss. So yeah, I like the design on this guy. Like, I think that's pretty good. When you get him stunned like that, that's a really good moment to lay some hurt on him, because he's actually still. And he should be almost dead at this point. And so I'm going to try to just finish him off with the pistol. He may get faster and more aggressive as you damage him more. So you just want to be wary of that. Again, try to manage your stamina as you run around these corners. Try to take the corners pretty tight so that he loses you. And just know that he can change direction. And this really, I mean, this should be a pretty straightforward. If you've made it this far, there's no reason why this boss should be a problem. And the end boss, in terms of ammunition that you want to be saving for the final boss, explosive bolts are good. Shotgun can be good. I think he's dead now. Yes, he is. Explosive bolts. Really, none of the other bolts are all that great. I guess the harpoon ones could be okay. But anything else is, you know, not super helpful. Sniper ammo is definitely good. Handgun ammo is pretty good. Shotgun ammo can be good. Although I prefer the explosive bolt sniper rifle handgun. Those are the ones that I would say are most useful. The assault rifle can be as well, just because it has some range to it. But yeah, that's that boss done. The effigy is dead. Not too difficult, and you just want to go around here, make sure that you've picked up everything that has dropped. There are things that will drop out of the boxes that were broken. And there are a couple of items that are scattered around. And then we're gonna move on out of this chapter, out of this level, and into chapter 16. And so here, chapter 16 is just a boss fight. There's a little bit of exposition here at the beginning, but there's really just a boss fight. in terms of enemies or puzzles or stuff that you have to do. And we're going to be making our final save here. And so, regardless of wherever else you made saves during this run, this is probably one that's going to be the same for everybody. You want to save your last save slot for right before the final boss. And I don't think that there's really any stuff to pick up around here. I didn't look around very much, but I don't really think there is. There are a couple of the resonances that you can tune, but other than that, I think this area is kind of empty. And we're just going to be making our way toward the safe house with our final save. And so you want to create any ammunition. Make sure that you're full on things like your sniper rifle and your handgun and explosive bolts if you can. If you have the resources to be able to do that. And, I mean, really there's no reason to not be full on anything that you have. Hopefully you've been collecting enough stuff to be able to craft things. You are probably going to want to craft stuff on the fly during the final boss fight. But, I mean, that's the whole reason why we collected stuff this whole way through and picked up the keys and all of that good stuff throughout this level throughout this game, because we wanted to be able to have enough resources to make it all the way through and to not feel like you're restricted here at the end. So give the cat one final little scritch behind the ears. Go and craft any ammo that you need. Pick up anything from the lockers if you still have stuff to pick up from them. Fill up on stuff. But you see I've got a ton of gunpowder here. But yeah, harpoons and explosives are really going to be the only thing that you're probably going to want to use bolt-wise. And just, yeah, fill up with everything else and make your save. And get ready for the final bit. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You are almost done, and I have no doubt that you can make it through the final boss fight. It's not too bad. It's no worse, I don't think, than anything than stuff that's come before. So it's maybe just a little bit longer than some of the other boss fights. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope that this has been helpful to you, and I will see you in the last part, part 8, where we're going to finish up this game. Thanks for watching.